Why is it important for publishers to start building direct relationships with their customers?
Actually, we built Ipublish Central all around that premise, is actually connecting the publisher to the end customer, and that's how we started. I think the power of the internet is really eliminating inefficiencies and in processes. So we've seen it happen in other industries, and we think the best way for long-term success of the publisher is start to connect directly, start accumulating their database of customers so that they can do multiple things. And the internet's a platform that you can actually create multiple business models. But once you start connecting, there's not only do you deliver the content directly, but you start understanding what the customer is doing. You can understand what he or she's reading, how she's reading, what kind of notes that they're taking. From where are they reading from? Are they reading from a device, or are they reading it geographically? Which sections of the content are they reading? So that intelligence that you get is incredibly critical for actually running your marketing strategies, running your editorial strategies, and influencing your long-term success. So the greater data, connections that you can have with your customers, I think the greater chances of long-term success.
Okay. How do you see the traditional publishing business model changing, and how will the growing global market come into play?
So the beauty of the internet, the market is not local, it is global, and all our publishers that have actually come on to Ipublish Central has seen their markets open up across markets. They've seen partnerships that have opened up because they can deliver that content in any global geographic location, and the physical barriers are lifted. So on one, it's the internet allows you to be global, but from a traditional business models, we talked about going direct. Going direct, you start understanding what customers want and how they consume the content. And the limitations of the physical book is also eliminated. So in terms of chunking content, instead of just creating, selling a full book, you can sell part of the book, you can rent the book, you can sell it as a collection, you can do it as a subscription. So the business model itself can be completely changed in multiple ways based on what your market or your customer needs are. So really, the traditional business model, you need to really think out of the box and figure out how do you take your content and create the maximum value for the end customer. So if it's a student, if he, budget's a problem, break it down into chapters and sell chapters.
Right.
If it's a hobbyist who needs a whole library of content to learn as he or she does arts and crafts, give them your whole library, but give it as a subscription on a monthly Netflix kind of model.
Sure. Yeah.
So you actually have multiple ways to sell the same kind of content, and the internet allows you to do it. So it's but you need to, one, build a direct relationship, two, have the infrastructure to allow you to do it, and three, understand your customer and give him what he wants.
Right. You've just released a beta 4.2 version of Ipublish Central. What are some of the notable new features?
So I think the big thing, we keep we're continuously innovating, and over the last couple of years, Ipublish Central 1.0 was just creating a book delivery system, reading on the browser. 2 was actually Ipublish Central 2.0 was delivering on iPad and iOS devices as the whole iPad tablets came into being. Then we moved into Android, and I think over the last 4 or 5 years, the basic infrastructure of ebook delivery was what was required in publishing. A warehouse, a reader, the distribution, a portal, but what we were always pushing out was basic content. It was a PDF and then moved it to EPUB file. So we really didn't innovate from a content perspective. We had the infrastructure laid out, but the content was still that printed book duplicate that came, and we just pushed it out as a PDF. And you know what? That was good for a printed book, but in devices like tablets, you can do a lot more. It doesn't have to be flat.
Yeah.
So a big part of 4.2 is really now getting into the content, enriching the content, and really enabling you to maximize the value of the new form, which is a tablet, and figure out how to best deliver that content in that form. So our table of contents is completely different than a flat table of content. We're really pulling out all the richness of your content. So if there's videos, we'll highlight that. If there's images, if there's quizzes, all of those components highlighted it. And the flow of the content as one reads the book on the device is a lot more adapted to a digital device versus traditional print PDF.
Okay.
So that's there's going to be tremendous amounts of innovation around that, and that's and 4.2 is the beginning of that innovation into the content, and really making sure that we deliver it as per the customer's need.
Okay. In relation to creating rich content, what sets Ipublish Central apart?
Going back to the publisher is now building these relationships with end customers. There's infrastructure that's being built. So you've got this rich content. Rich content will have videos, but it'll also have assessments. It'll basically assess if the customer who's consuming the content is actually understanding the content or absorbing what he or she is reading. Now, having that rich content out in the ether, through your distribution channels is fine, and it's not connected back to a home base, the server side. But imagine if you could actually allow someone to consume the content. It's rich. They're actually interacting with that content. You can actually take that data back to a server side and say, oh, okay, this customer who's reading that content doesn't really understand this particular topic. So let's now push, another chapter from that same book to be reread.
Right.
So that connection between on the server side and the client side is critical. Ipublish Central allows you to do that connection and really customize the content to the that consumer who's reading. Because my book should be different than your book, because I might understand a particular topic better than you understanding that topic.
Right.
And I could probably progress faster than you. So that physical book limitation that was there in the physical book is completely removed on the digital side. And with 4.2, we're enabling that kind of interaction where we can start customizing the content to individual based on how he or she learns. So I think it's really critical to have the infrastructure, to have not only the reader and the content being delivered, but a back end, a server side where you can actually collect data, analyze, and push back content. So it's more appropriate to the end user.
Right, interesting. Thank you very much for taking time to talk to me today.
Thank you.